Mm. And we get to introduce another one of my favorite humans that is here tonight, our second speaker. After Lisa will do a couple breakout rooms, just so you know what's going to be happening tonight. Lisa, I want everyone to give Lisa a huge round of applause. Can everyone scream, cheer? I know we can't hear each other. Maybe you might need to come off mute to scream next time. But Lisa, I want you to just see everyone's love for you. And we're so excited to have you here. I will wait till your face is here before I start talking to you. There you are. It's like her face has not arrived yet. There it is. Hi.
Hey.
Hi. Oh, please welcome Lisa Kalfus, everybody. Another dear sister of mine. She is an expert in human connection, the founder of Firestart Connection, and is on a mission to empower people and communities to connect better. As a certified facilitator and conversation coach, she helps leaders and seekers build high trust, authentic relationships by skipping the small talk for more real talk, yes, please, to foster genuine connections fast. Her science-based, deeper conversational IQ frameworks have proven to cultivate higher levels of connection, trust, and performance in relationships for thousands of people around the world. Elevate your joy, fulfillment, and abundance in both life and work through the art of conversation and the power of authentic connection. Let's give Lisa a very warm welcome. We're so happy to have you here, Lisa. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Melissa. And it is such an honor to be here with all of you phenomenal women. We're going to have so much fun together today. Seriously. And I want to just start by asking you a question. Who here is here to really connect with other phenomenal women like you and maybe even make a new friend? I'm seeing some hand raised. Yeah, drop a yes in the chat if you are here and excited to connect with others in the community. And I'm seeing some yeses, so I love it. I also love connecting because you never know who you're going to meet and what the impact is going to be. And one conversation can have such power and the impact in our lives. Just like the first conversation that I had when I met Melissa years ago at a mutual friend's birthday party. And instead of just kind of floating around and meeting a whole bunch of people and staying on the surface, we really boldly opened up a conversation. And in just a very short amount of time, it allowed us to quickly learn what was alive for us. And the result was we really accelerated our connection because we learned our values, these similar experiences and aspirations we had. And it really created this desire for us to further the connection and build a friendship, which we've deepened over the years. And it's led me to be here with all of you today. So what about you? What if you are one conversation away? What if there's someone right here in this collective that if you were to have a conversation with them, not just any conversation, a specific kind of conversation, that it had the ability to unlock something in them and in turn in you, that would open the door for more of the future that you want for yourself, your business, your life, for more than you're capable of being, of living, of contributing? What if you're just one conversation away? Well, today we're going to discover together the power of authentic connection in order to really transform your life, your career, your business. And we're going to talk about some quick strategies for you to do that yourself. So I'm going to share 3 things with you today. The first is insights on the type of connection that really matters. The second is a powerful conversation starter question, and I'm going to allow for you to practice and ask it of each other together. And then the third is some tangible mindset and conversational tools to help you connect better. And my hope is that you really walk away inspired to elevate your own connection power here in our community and also beyond with anyone that you interact with or touch. And so in a moment, we're going to jump into some breakouts for you to actually have the opportunity to have a curious conversation with someone. So get ready for that. But before we do, I'll just share some quick context on what to expect and why. So I truly believe that the key to success and fulfillment in our lives depends on our relationships. And some quick data around this, that Harvard had conducted a study on happiness, and it explored what keeps and maintains happiness as people grow. And the number one answer, maybe some of you can guess it, is community. And the study showed that it's the strength of the connections that you make that is directly correlated to increasing your well-being. So our health, our happiness, more than anything, is connected to the quality of our relationships. And yet 61% of adults identify as lonely, and 4 in 10 report that they don't have close personal relationships that they can really count on. And that's a big number. And so the power of this community goes well beyond the learning and the resources that we receive. While those are so important to help us thrive, it's also about the connections. And so how do we create stronger, higher quality connections? Well, the key to doing that is better conversations, because it's all in our communication. And so as I've guided people, thousands of people around the world, I've seen how people can quickly shift their mood and the quality of their relationships, even as fast as within the first 5 minutes of a conversation. And so I've developed a science-based method that I teach people these skills so you can improve it within your lives and your careers. So one of those skills that's part of the method is the power of asking questions. So today we are going to ask each other a powerful question that is proven to do just that. So let's dive in and take some time to authentically connect. And after that, I'm going to share some specific tools with you. So in a moment, you're going to be placed in breakout groups of about 3 people. And I'm going to invite us to have a conversation around your story of inspiration to be here today. And I'll prompt the specific question in a moment. So when you first meet someone new at a professional event or a social gathering, you really want to break into the conversation in a way that quickly establishes common ground. And you want to engage in a way that allows for you to be truly authentic, but also helps you really stand out and is not just the typical dialogue. So your interaction then becomes way more connected and memorable. So one of the best ways to do that is to simply ask why someone really decided to be at a gathering. So I want to invite us to explore the question that Melissa prompted earlier, which is, what inspired you to be here? What inspired you to be here? And why this question matters is that it really opens up a conversation in a way that's going to quickly create comfort and safety. So then you can open up even more as you would explore further questions that would build more rapport together. So what about you? Maybe you're feeling disconnected, or you're feeling that people around you don't get you, or you're just feeling a higher call, or you're in a transition, or you're struggling to find some alignment, or you just want to level up your skills because you know that more is possible. So whatever it is that inspired you to be here today, your authentic reason is perfect. And so here's how it's going to work. We're going to go into conversations in about 6 minutes. You'll have, so they'll go really, really quick. And so you'll get into a room and you'll connect, you'll decide the order of who would like to share first, who would like to listen. And if you're not in a place to speak, that's perfectly okay. You can just listen and be a great participant by really holding space. And then you'll have about 1.5 minutes per person to share. It's going to go really, really fast. And so just allow for each person to have time to do that. And we'll send you some notifications in between so that you know what you need to do in order to just switch. So please, you can look at the chat for the guidance on these breakout conversations. And just one quick important note is try not to stay fully on the surface. Just allow for, people to really share why it's important. And then you can always ask a follow-up question and follow those breadcrumbs like, ooh, tell me more about that. Or why was that so important to you right now? Okay, so that's how it's going to work. And these conversations in your breakouts are totally confidential and are not being recorded. So you really can just have an open space to be honest and share. And just I challenge you to just go a little bit to the edge of your comfort zone, whatever you feel comfortable with though. Okay, so give me a thumbs up if you're ready to dive into these conversations. Yes, everyone's ready? All right, so you'll see a blue button pop up. You can enter a breakout and we'll see you back here in 6 minutes. Enjoy your conversations. Welcome back. Welcome back. As people are starting to come back, I want to invite you to put in the chat anything you want to acknowledge or appreciate about the person that you just spoke with. anything you want to acknowledge or appreciate, just put in the chat. It's so important to acknowledge each other. So maybe do you want to put in the chat, not anything confidential that you shared, but anything you want to acknowledge or appreciate about the person you just spoke with, or maybe what you noticed. How did it feel to share, or how did it feel to listen to someone else's story of inspiration? So I invite you to share maybe something that you really noticed of how that felt to share or to listen of someone's story of inspiration. And as you're doing that, I am just looking around. I'm seeing some good head nods, some energy. So I hope that you really had some inspiring conversations. Yeah. Seeing some head nods. All right. Well, invite you to really have a chance to look at people's messages. And I love feeling that energy of connection. And you did all of that in just 6 minutes. It goes by so fast. So imagine what you can do if you're really dedicated to doing this more and getting to more levels of depth consistently. And, quick story, one of my clients, she recently shared that she started asking this at professional events. And before she'd go to events and feel kind of anxious, sometimes out of place. And she said that she would have these kind of fine interactions, but nothing really seemed to come from them. And so she tried this and she was blown away at what emerged. Because one woman that she recently spoke to, who was a high-powered film investor that she'd known for years socially, but always really wanted to connect with more, but felt a little bit intimidated by her. She couldn't quite figure out how to naturally, really break into a stronger relationship. And so she asked this question recently, and she said in 5 minutes, she learned so much more about her and what she valued and what she believed in. And it opened up such a powerful conversation that afterwards, the woman said she'd love to connect more. And they actually set up a call for the same week to do just that. So that really is what's possible when you start to connect with more intention. So now that you've experienced how fast you can create powerful, authentic connection, I want to just break down a few things of what you've experienced so that you can walk away with some clear actions that you can take immediately after today's event. And before I share some strategies with you, I'd love to just get a quick sense of where you are at. So I invite you to just drop a yes in the chat if you want to boldly just share. Have you ever gone to an event or a gathering where you're meeting new people and you just felt a little bit awkward at first? Or maybe you started to feel bored in the conversation. Does that happen to you? I'm seeing some yeses. Absolutely. Okay. So most of us have. It's so normal. And I understand because I used to also. And I started to get curious. Why is that? Why am I feeling this way? And what I discovered is that typical interactions often look like, hey, how are you? Fine. Or how's it going today? Oh, I'm glad it's kind of sunny. The weather is like this, kind of blah, blah, blah. And, we oftentimes kind of just get lazy in our interactions or responses and how we actually are guiding the conversation. So it's really easy to feel awkward or get bored. And we oftentimes also put up walls and we're hiding behind a mask and we don't really share our true self. Or we think that we're not that interesting, or we think a conversation should happen really naturally. And if it doesn't, we just kind of move on, or we play it really safe, thinking that it's not appropriate to get personal with someone in a professional environment. And it's just wrong. It's what our society has taught us, but we've had so many missed opportunities because of that. And so what I've learned is that it's so critical to shift this. And in order to do that, you really have to take more ownership of the conversation. So I want to share with you 2 tips that might sound simple and obvious, but I really want to invite you to have a beginner's mind, because in the research I've done with leaders around the world on conversational behaviors that are proven to really strengthen human connection, 99% of people don't do these things consistently, effectively, or with a level of mastery. But when you do, it will unlock magic. I promise you that. So what are these 2 things? Well, the first is, number 1, is a simple mindset shift. And it's all about being curious. And so we've learned from leaders like Dale Carnegie that you really need to learn to be interested, not interesting. And it's the one mindset strategy that will game change your conversations and your connections. because it's the thing that seems to come very naturally to the most charismatic people in the room. You know, when you're meeting those people and they kind of just make you feel like you're the only person in the room. You know that feeling? Oh, it feels so yummy. So how does that really happen? Well, it happens because they've learned to be interested and operate from a place where there's something to learn and see in every human being, in every conversation. And so when you cultivate a genuinely curious mindset and truly believe that everyone is interesting, then you're going to get excited to connect with anyone and to connect in a way that's not transactional, trying to extract value of what you can get out of that person, but instead truly authentically connecting, knowing that there's value in just having the conversation because you learn something new, or inadvertently you cause the person to feel better about themselves simply by acknowledging and affirming the value of who they are. And that is living from a place of service. And it really is easier said than done because most people try to just over talk and prove themselves. So to do this, you really also have to listen deeply, mindfully. And you also really need to be curious and ask better questions. So that's really the second tip. It's a conversational tool around how you can ask better questions. Because one of the best and fastest ways to elevate your conversations is through the questions that we ask. And learning how to ask better questions is the super skill that is going to set you apart as an empowering leader, a compassionate human, and also accelerate your own learning and growth. And for some people, questioning becomes very, very naturally and easily. But generally speaking, most of us don't ask enough questions, nor do we pose our inquiries in an optimal way. And so I've been fascinated by this, and I've studied the art of question design and appreciative inquiry for years. And I can proudly say it's become a superpower that really has allowed for my relationships to thrive. And so I love teaching people. And so the tool and the habit that you can create is to ask better what questions. Simply reframe very common questions that we typically ask as how into more insightful what questions. So what do I mean by that? Well, I really want to encourage you to stop asking things like, how's it going? Which is so general and close-ended. Seriously, stop asking it. And instead, ask better what questions framed in that way, like the questions that you asked each other. So instead of asking, how are you? Where are you from? You'll ask, what inspired you to be here? Which really helps the other person answer in a way that's going to share something that's going to reveal more of what matters to them. Another example of what you can do in a professional event or a social gathering is instead of asking, what do you do? Ask, what inspires you to do what you do? You're going to get a much juicier answer. And so I invite you to have the courage to reframe something common by asking it in this way, more specifically, more thoughtfully. And the benefit of this is that it's going to help you really create more emotional connection faster so you can maximize your time. And you're going to have way more interesting conversations that you can learn and grow from. And you'll also have a faster filter for who you want to further a connection with, because we all value our time. And so this might sound simple, but sometimes the simple things are so powerful in making incremental shifts. And it happens again and again. I see it all the time. And another woman I work with, she often goes to these professional events, and she went to one recently and she's always bored, and she just goes and she collects business cards and nothing ever comes from it. And so she shifted and asked a more thoughtful question that she had learned from my online program. And the gentleman that she spoke to, within just 10 minutes, she had a 10-minute conversation. At the end of the event, he came up to her and said, that was the best conversation of the night. Can we exchange information? And they did. And they went on to have a very strong and supportive professional relationship. So I want to encourage you to just remember two things. First, be genuinely curious, be interested, not interesting. And the second is ask better what questions that are specific and really get at someone's feelings and experiences. So I'm really excited for you on what is possible when you empower yourself to be a more masterful conversationalist. and really have the courage and the skills to skip the small talk and to connect better, faster. And so you can come to this event and learn, but not really see change if you don't put things immediately into action. And I truly care about your transformation and I want you to take action. So I just want to invite you to take a moment and reflect on what you just heard and experience and think about what is an action that you might take to help you accelerate your authentic connections. Maybe drop it in the chat. What's one commitment that you can make this week based on what you just experienced? Let's see them. Let's inspire each other and also hold yourself accountable just by stating it. And I invite you to maybe ask someone this week at another gathering or event, like what inspired them to be here? It's one thing you can do and just really cultivate these habits. And also to continue to support your growth, I want to share a resource with you on 10 questions to build rapport at events and social gatherings fast. I've experimented with and benefited from these for years, and I've seen the same outcomes for those that I've served. So I really want to help you connect with more confidence and ease. And so I've curated a short list for you. So we're going to drop in the chat the resource for a complimentary list of 10 great questions that you can use to build rapport at events and social gatherings fast. And also I want to invite you, you can follow me on Instagram or LinkedIn, and I share a ton of other tips that you can also use and other questions to really deepen your connections. So with that, I really hope that this has been helpful in giving you some practical techniques for building authentic connections faster, just one conversation at a time. And remember, it's not always easy to move beyond the small talk, but the benefits of deeper connection are so worth it. You're going to have more interesting interactions. It's also going to help you create long-standing, really aligned, and really trusted relationships. And truly, that is the power of authentic connection. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. Can we give Lisa a huge round of applause? I would ask you to put in the difference that she made, but you have been doing that the entire time. So Lisa, you're going to love all the comments that you get to enjoy. Thank you so much. That was so valuable and something that people really struggle with all the time. And you made it feel really simple. So thank you so much, Lisa.